Hey there, everybody. Just a quick follow-up from the editing room. Apparently, we lost about 10 minutes of video on this last one. We still have the audio, and so I'm going to run it as is because we wanted to get this out here for Easter. On top of that, I think there's a few audio glitches on a few things, but I'm using a new editor, so I apologize. Hopefully it comes through clear for everybody out there listening. Last thing, happy Easter. Hope you guys have a great day.
Welcome back to Awakened Exchanges. I'm your host, Jay, and today I'm incredibly excited to welcome my beautiful partner and wife, Krista, on board to co-host.
Thanks, baby. I am nervous, but I'm excited, and it's been probably 3 years of you trying to get me to come here and do this.
Getting you here, getting you on mic has actually been one of the main things I've been trying to do to reboot the series. Actually, I think that I needed a good co-host here. I wanted to come up with a better format for this evolution. And we're recording this on our 41st third anniversary, which...
Happy anniversary, baby. Or third anniversary, baby.
Happy third anniversary to you, too. So before we dive into the heavy stuff, since Krista's new here with us, and we're recording this on Good Friday, which is the 3rd, why don't we tell them a little bit about why you're actually sitting here and how we got to be us.
How I made it here. You've been definitely trying for as long as I've known you to have me join you an episode. We met in 2022, online dating, Hinge, shout out Hinge.
Yeah.
We're a success story.
Online dating in Portland, I was pretty ready to give up, I think.
Is what it is.
But then Hinge was fairly new.
It was fairly newer here. It was, I think I'd have been on like a year, maybe, not even. I don't know.
And I hadn't heard much about it. I went on for a little while, and somebody commented on a cat picture.
Yeah, I did. I was getting ready to be done with dating for a bit, and I saw you and Shadow at Grand Canyon. I think the Grand Canyon. Yeah, the Grand Canyon. And I think I just sent Travel Kitty with like, oh, he's not going to respond. And then you responded a couple days later.
Because I kept going back. I'm like, what am I going to say?
Yeah,
Travel Kitty.
I never not lead with questions. We were just talking about that today or yesterday.
We were this morning.
This morning, yeah. I think because I had done my stint of dating, and I was closing up shop for the winter.
Yeah.
And you were going to be, So I was like, oh, I'll meet a new person. So yeah, you were my last date.
I hadn't actually been on an online date in a while, and I had opened it. I had opened it back up, and I didn't have anybody on Hinge that I wanted to reach out to, except I kept coming back to that Travel Kitty comment, and I kept going back through your profile over and over, so I finally responded.
So we back and forth a little bit, and then went out 41 third anniversaries ago. We met at the church bar because I did not have... Black Beauty, my car had just died of 21 years, so I was without a car for a little bit. So I was at the bar, and I got there first, and I was sitting in the booth, and they had the chairs in front, and I remember him walking in and being like, okay, he looks like his picture, he's pretty cute. Like, well, we'll see how this goes. And he comes in and gets a drink and sits down, and I'm sitting up here, and the seat is like 6 inches shorter than me, and he's just like down here, and we just start laughing, and we're like, that's not gonna work. And so you came and sat next to me, and then you I remember you like, what am I gonna do with my hand? And I'm just gonna put it on her leg, and
it's really nice spot to rest with it.
41 months ago today.
So that's why thirds are special for us. It's kind of our date night to kind of keep things fresh with us.
Yeah.
So we've had 41 as a couple.
Yeah.
And 5
married because we got Married on the 3rd, because why not?
On our third
anniversary, because we're cheesy like that.
What are you gonna do?
I love it. I love you.
I love
Anyways, back to that date happening and this happening, and we've been talking a lot, and he's been telling about what the topic is going to be, and I was like, I've been kind of interested in this topic, so why don't we try this to be the podcast? So this is my first ever podcast, people.
And you still don't know what that topic is, but real quick before we get into that, we mentioned Shadow.
We did. Henry, he's made an appearance, you said.
Yes, he's made an appearance at least once.
Our cat co-hosts.
Yes. Luna could jump in here at any moment or squeak her way by to try and get attention. So just a disclaimer, feline production team.
Yes, if the camera comes falling, if other things come running, we've got it.
We leap up suddenly and there's a drastic cut.
Feline production team in effect.
Okay. Second disclaimer is for me. I've put together a massive amount of historical, esoteric, scientific information in this deep dive. So I apologize in advance if sometimes I'm looking at the screen and I'm reading chunks from the screen. It's because I am. I want to get the details right. And I've got a flood of information in my brain from the last couple of weeks. So
you've been working hard, and this is also your first podcast back in a while. So.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I owe you guys a good one because I haven't done a real deep dive in a while, and I think
since me, sorry.
Hey.
Anyways, I know. All worth it. So we're here. We finally made it.
Exactly.
I've joined you on your podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome, baby. I'm excited to be here and nervous.
Good. Well, no need to be nervous, but I'm glad you're excited too. So as this is April 3rd, it also happens to be Good Friday. And Good Friday commemorates the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, whereas Easter celebrates the resurrection. So I thought it was a good excuse to talk about one of the most, in my opinion, fascinating objects of esoteric lore, and that's going to be the Shroud of Turin. Please interrupt me at any point in time. This did happen because we were talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, basically...
You got me interested in it enough.
I don't even...
who doesn't know... I don't know... I don't need much or know much about religion and religious stuff.
Well, I grew up with lapsed Catholics, but as most of you know, I'm Buddhist. But I think I saw something on Instagram, which they had done from the shroud. They had made an AI image of what the person who left that image would look like. And when I talked about the Shroud of Turin, she looked at me like I was crazy.
What is that? Didn't know. But you've shared a lot, and it's piqued my interest quite a bit. So
good. Yeah. She is still coming into this pretty cold, but I thought that she was crazy. But I started asking our friends, and I was pretty much one of. I think there was one other friend that actually had, heard about it and knew anything about it other than maybe the name. So with that in mind, I decided that more people needed to kind of consider the implications of what a shroud that we still can't scientifically explain today might mean. And when I started talking about it with Krista, I kind of realized that it requires a full discussion of Jesus because, well, how can it be an authentic relic if Jesus was a character made to tell tales, make lessons, or sell books, So hopefully that starting point isn't too odd, but I'm going to kind of delve into Jesus Christ, the human, and what the implications of the implausible resurrection story might actually be. So, I don't want to alienate any non-Christians out there, so I'm going to remind everybody, as I said, I'm Buddhist. I've been Buddhist for quite a while. This story is going to touch on a multitude of religions from Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, other esoteric traditions. And I want to remind people that many modern Hindu traditions view Jesus as an avatar, basically a divine incarnation sitting on the same level as Krishna or Vishnu, while some Buddhist sects consider him a Bodhisattva, a being who's reached enlightenment but has decided to remain on Earth and even reincarnate to help ease humanity's suffering. So this isn't Christians, just Christians. I think this is Christians in the way that Jesus actually would have meant it to be, which is all inclusive for everybody. It is. It's about everybody here, not about this must believe this and this must believe that. So, in my opinion,
we are all one.
I'm hoping that that's what we walk away from, that there's people see that through this series, where all of these religions, all of these things are trying to communicate over vast differences of space and time, basically geographically where they're located, the languages that are spoken there, all of these things have to be taken into account. And Jesus came around, and his story has lasted 2,000 years now as a good lesson. So, and hello there, Luna. All right, so with those thoughts in mind, this is absolutely my most ambitious project to date, a speculative history of Jesus Christ as evidenced by the Shroud of Turin. You ready for this?
I am. I am excited to learn more, and I will ask what I can ask.
Please do. I feel like I'm just spouting a lot because I talk a lot when we talk sometimes.
That's true.
That whole share mode thing.
I love it.
All right. So to begin even talking about the Shroud, we have to strip away theology and look at what is the historical timeline as it's written down. So if we accept the Bible's timeline, then we know that he was born in Judea sometime around 6 to 4 BC, because it goes the other way, that goes. We know that because he was supposed to be born during the reign of King Herod. And King Herod died in 4 BC. And we know that not much between then, except in his public ministry is supposed to have kicked off around 27 to 29 AD. And that's when John the Baptist began baptizing in the Jordan River, and that's because it was recorded as the 15th year of Emperor Tiberius. All things that are written down elsewhere, but we'll get to that. I know there's a lot of stuff already. So Jesus spent the next few years preaching, healing, interacting with verifiable historical figures. And those are the people we're going to try and look to prove that this was a man, not just somebody who was made up or later deified, which I believe happened and when the Romans kind of took over everything and became the Roman Catholic Church and all that stuff. All right. Let's see, where was I? Historical figures like the Jewish high priest Caiaphas, whose actual bone box was discovered by archaeologists in 1990. And we also know that his life ended in Jerusalem in around 30 or 33 AD on Passover, right now, under the absolute authority of the Roman prefect, Pontius Pilate. These are all things that I'm going to kind of show here via fact, so you don't have to just believe me, but feel free to just, sure, John, sure. So to prove Jesus was a real man rather than someone made up for the Bible, historians look for hostile or neutral corroboration.
Which were hostels?
Hostile corroboration is when people who don't want him to be around, basically. It's people who he was a problem for them being around. It's not people who are trying to make him a big god-like figure. It's the people who are like, why is this person here? Neutral would be somebody who's just mentioned in passing that this person existed.
Yeah, some on the street.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So if we step outside of the New Testament, which is the modern Bible, basically, we find a surprising amount of evidence. We're going to get into St. Paul later. From a purely historical standpoint, though, the letters of Paul would actually be looked at as hostile evidence, because even though, as you don't know, that he is basically the main reason why Christianity became a religion. He was a Roman who basically went around persecuting Christians, killing Christians, and then he had a flash from Jesus that interrupted his life, basically, and turned him around. So he started as an antagonist and became the reason why the entire religion exists.
Okay.
I wrote more about that later, but I don't have it all in my head. It's just all there. So,
Okay.
But basically, the letters that we have from him, they're written in the language and the writing style of that first century AD. They're written literally 15 to 25 years after the crucifixion, which is living memory of this person being a real person. Okay. That makes it as close to the historical timeline as we can have real documents, as opposed to 1300 saying, yes, this lived at the same time. This is coming down to that same century. Okay. Let's see. In the letters that he actually writes, that he personally met James, who is Jesus' flesh and blood brother, in Jerusalem. He interacts with the man's family. And then you have Flavius Josephus, Romano-Jewish historian. He explicitly records the execution of James, identifying him as the brother of Jesus, the man they call Christ.
Okay.
We also have a letter from a Syrian Stoic philosopher, and we might have a cat jumping on up here with us at any second now. But the Syrian philosopher Mara bar Serapion, whatever, I apologize for my pronunciation. I don't have it down. But anyway, it was written around 73 AD, so it's still less than 100 years. It's 40 years after he was executed. And he compares the unjust execution of Socrates and Pythagoras, who we still talk about today as well, from the Greeks, with the wise king of the Jews. He noted that the people were ruined shortly after the execution, but the king's teachings lived on. And so these are things that they're coming from other countries, they're coming from other places. They're proving that somebody that they call Jesus Christ lived at this time. A few more little things. The Romans themselves, they were huge record keepers, but they hated the Christians when they came on. It was basically a giant administrative headache, yet Tacitus, one of Rome's greatest historians, wrote in his annals, discussing the Great Fire of Rome, saying that Christus suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of Pontius Pilate. So it actually lays down what we had written in the New Testament.
That same timeline.
Exactly. Christ lived, he was killed by Pontius Pilate, and so you start getting the corroborating facts, and you can start putting the pieces together and hopefully saying, okay, this is a human. Roman governors Pliny the Younger wrote to the emperor about the rapid spread of a group meeting before dawn to sing hymns to Christ as a god. And historians like Suetonius documenting how the emperor had to expel Jews from Rome after causing disturbances over someone named Christus. So all of these things, it's what led to the movement. It's why Rome eventually had to take it over and either make it their own or destroy it. It was getting too big to destroy, is my personal... all right, last thing to prove that he was real, because I hope you guys are following with me and I'm not like too over the head about trying to do this, but in the Talmud, later rabbinic Jewish texts, they were highly antagonistic towards early Christianity, and they explicitly mention a figure named Yeshua. And that in the Talmud they claim that, and this is going to be important when I come around to it and all the writing later on, that he practiced sorcery and enticed Israel to apostasy, and was hanged on the eve of Passover. And the sorcery was specifically said to come out of Egypt. That part's also going to become, because there's very little we know about where he came from being born to all of a sudden 30 years old on the Jordan River preaching to a whole bunch of people. So, since for modern historians, they would look at those kind of things as hostile attestations, people who didn't want Christ to exist, who were he was a pain in their a thorn in their side,
Yeah.
and he still got written into their history.
And a lot of different, versions.
Exactly. A lot, at least multiple corroborating witnesses from 2,000 years ago when we can't confirm 95% of what we claim is history.
A lot of things too close to be not connected. Yeah.
So, we don't know his whole timeline. We don't know any of that stuff, but we basically know that his fiercest opponents believed that he existed. He performed unexplained feats that they attributed to magic rather than divinity, and he was ultimately executed. That is historically recorded down as proof within the first 100 years of his death.
Okay.
So, from there, if we're going to go ahead and say that proves him as a person, we have to look at the hardest thing to explain, which is going to be the lost years. Mm-hmm. And I think I've mentioned it a little bit.
Like the young years?
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to try and take what we know from historical facts about the time and where he was living, add in some human psychology, and kind of fill in the timeline with some speculation and writer's intuition. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to do my best to remain as true to life as possible while doing that. So I hope so. I'm going to exclude the infancy gospels of Thomas and Matthew because I believe those were written to basically deify him later on. And I didn't even write down what they were, but I remember that the language comes down from the 2nd century, so 150 to 200 years after he was executed. And it was written when the movement had already sprung up because of Paul.
Right.
And I believe they were trying to, when they called him the Son of God, it stopped being about everything and started being about him being a God himself. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of modern Christians still, I think, believe.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what we do know, there's one glimpse between infancy and baptism, and that's at age 12. The Gospel of Luke says that Jesus traveled to Jerusalem with his family on Passover, also right now, and he went missing for 3 days. His frantic parents eventually found him at the temple courts, sitting among the religious teachers, listening and asking them questions. The text notes that everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. After the incident, Luke simply says, Jesus returned to Nazareth, was obedient to his parents, and grew in wisdom and stature. That leaves a lot between 12 and 30. So, let's see. In the Gospel of Mark, the adults of his hometown later referred to him as a tekton. What do you remember what they said Jesus did? Like, what his profession was?
Carpentry.
Yes, Jesus was a carpenter.
That one.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, tekton is the word that they use to say that. Okay, they say that that's carpenter. The Greek translation actually means builder or day laborer or stonemason. So it's more than just carpentry. Okay. And while the texts don't mention anything beyond the word itself, archaeologists know exactly what a tekton in Nazareth would have been doing in those decades, because Nazareth was a tiny town of maybe 400 people, just an impoverished little village. That's basically where people think Jesus spent his whole childhood, his whole youth, everything he did in this place. But 4 miles away was a major Hellenistic city called Sepphoris. And I think we talked about it a little bit. Who was the king? Herod Antipas was, and during that time, was going to rebuild that entire city. He wanted it to be the ornament of Galilee. He wanted it to shine for everybody and just be this big thing. So every builder within anywhere was there in that city. So basically, I'm going to argue that he was likely with his father Joseph, and he was commuting to Sepphoris to basically work on construction projects probably his whole youth, because there's not like there's schools like we have them today, right? But that means Jesus isn't some isolated country bumpkin. He's going to have spent his youth in a bustling Greco-Roman city, exposed to Greek theater, politics, philosophies, planes flying overhead. Oh wait, that's just us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm gonna reiterate real quick. So, he's not a country bumpkin. He spent his youth in a giant city, exposed to Greek theater, politics, and diverse philosophies. I've been going through a lot of information at this point so
You
far.
have? Yes, you have.
Is there anything other than... Do you think that I've actually established so far what I needed to about him being an
actual individual? Yes. There's been, in my opinion, who has not had a lot of information about this ever.
Luna, by the
Looney.
way.
Hi, Looney Tooney. Oh, she's gonna.
No, she'll be
Yeah, no, you've given me ample information that proves that he's more than just a person, or more than just a character.
Okay. And I know that
And there's a lot of timeline similarities in the different stories that
Okay.
make me that seems logical. I guess that seems logical that he's.
It seems at least plausible.
Plausible, maybe that's the word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I'm still telling a lot of information for a little bit here, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the story, and hopefully you're enjoying the story too.
Yeah.
All right. First century Jewish culture, a boy officially came of age at 12 or 13, which is still what we see today. Bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, all that stuff. Bat mitzvahs, female, I believe.
I don't know.
Anyway, if he stayed in Judea, he would have immediately had begun an apprenticeship at that age, and probably, like I said, would have been with his father beforehand, just because what is there doing? He was also obviously a student of Judaism, and had that thirst for knowledge. And I'm going to describe why I think that when we go into when he was at the temple. But because he was going into his apprenticeship, he was in Sepphoris. The mystery concepts are all over the place in Greek theater, Cynic philosophy. So we don't know how long he would have apprenticed locally. But basically, let's speculate that it would have been just long enough to realize that he had a big thirst for knowledge, and he was in a place that was too small to contain that. You know?
Yeah. He needed out.
So the story of Jesus at the temple at age 12, I kind of think of that as like the reason it was important, the reason it got passed down was because that was the catalyst, right? That was an inciting incident. He travels to Jerusalem expecting to find a connection to God there, the divine center of his faith, and instead he finds a massive, noisy slaughterhouse of animal sacrifices, money changers, and rigid legalistic priests debating the minutia of law versus, what's good and what's right and wrong. So with that, he realizes the religious authorities don't have the answers he's looking for. The temple feels hollow, and he wants there to be a way to connect with God. He's raised in Nazareth. It's a 400-person religious community, basically, right? Yeah. So imagine him being just that smart, thirsty, and he wrapped his head through all there. He's believed there is no way around this except for this has to be true because everybody who's older than me, everybody who's raised me says this is the truth.
Right.
And now he's getting to the people who control the truth, and he realizes that they're just as empty as everybody controlling the truth today.
Yeah, true statement.
So he says he basically feels there must be a way to connect with God that doesn't involve shedding blood or paying temple taxes, and that creates a hunger in him that his local synagogue and community can no longer feed, right? So he returns to Nazareth. He's facing life. It's pretty suffocating. He's realizing he's stuck in this town. This is the way things are going to be for him forever unless he gets out of it. And there might be a fall over here in a minute. So,
She's good.
Yeah, she's just being a weirdo. But as the oldest son, his destiny is basically supposed to be set in stone. He's supposed to swing a hammer, carry limestone, build houses for the wealthy, and basically take care of the elite in Sepphoris until he dies.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like a very fun life to me. So he sees the oppression of his people daily, the Roman soldiers, the heavy taxation, constant threat of crucifixion, and he feels a profound calling to heal suffering. So he knows fighting with a sword like the Zealots only leads to more violence, so he wants to try and find a different kind of power. And, well, power most of the time comes with money. So, Nazareth, it's secluded, but it's also close to the Via Maris. It's an important trade route. As a skilled laborer visiting trade routes, visiting near that area, that would be where you would be exposed to multiple different points of view. People coming and going from all different places. Okay. That trade route, Via Maris, was one of the most important trade routes in the ancient world. It connected Egypt to Damascus and the rest of the East. So let's speculate that he's basically fetching supplies. He's already disillusioned with the place, and he encounters a caravan from the East with the silk and spice merchants. Along with them is an Eastern mystic, a Buddhist monk, or a Vedic scholar, somebody who's got a piece of the puzzle that he doesn't have yet. So he asks questions, he's inquisitive, the traveler recognizes he's an old soul kind of energy in a teenage boy. They have a conversation that blows Jesus's mind as a young boy. The traveler speaks of the ego, of inner peace, divine essence, that it resides in all of us instead of something controlled by the temple priests. Okay? And then all of the he has this conversation talking about ancient texts, exploring the universe that doesn't have the same rigid dogmas that he's grown up in. And the traveler sees this as a prodigy wasting away and says, hey, you can come east with us. So let's say he does. We don't have any clue. All we know is that sometime between 12 and 30, he travels away, gets to Egypt, and then comes back. So let's say I'm going to look at all of the philosophies that he talks about. I'm going to all of his sayings that he's famous for, which I hope I don't leave too many out, and show how they actually relate to Buddhism and Hinduism and all these other things as well. And if you take it as him trying to translate all of this stuff, you could start to see why maybe this is hung around so long. So let's speculate he goes with them east, and he's going to try and learn the mysteries of the mind, and he's going to help spread the fire of the West, because they have that energy that I know I'm giving so much. I'm sorry.
So much information. I feel like I'm not being very helpful either.
Well, I know that there's like I said, there's a lot of this that is, I just want to get you to there.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get a little bit farther along today through definitely not going to get to his execution today. Don't worry. All right. Anyway, basically, if you look at it through a lens of curiosity, it's not a teenage rebellion as why he's leaving. He's actually trying to go out and find his destiny. He's that call to adventure, that hero's journey that people talk about. Right. He's seeking something more. And if you go to Joseph Campbell, if you go to Jordan Peterson, if you go to any of the people that talk about that, the hero's journey, it always goes to outside of me to learn more, come back, teach it to others. Most of the time, it's supposed to be to your father. He's one of the people you teach that to, because you have to come back and bring the wisdom, and so that it can move forward another generation. It's just one of those things that it's a traditional kind of story because it's what happens. You know, if there's a curious person who goes out and explores, he's going to learn more. He's going to bring. He's already learned what his parents have brought with them. He's going to bring more back, and hopefully share that knowledge. Psychology, I'm hoping that it makes sense here, as I wrote a lot of this, and So whether the strange events of his birth or the prophecies around it were true, his mom, Mary, knows that he's different. And even though she's sad to see him go, she understands why somebody like him would want to go. Okay? So heartbroken, and she's not surprised. She can't keep him tied to a bench, so lets him go down, explore his path. The Silk Road isn't like an escape, but rather an attempt for him to gather more tools. I don't think he expects to be gone forever. I don't even know if he expects to be gone as long as he is. I think it's more of my journey is going to take me where it goes. And in those days, you never knew if you were going to make it back because you could die at any moment.
Is Silk Road what they just say, like you're going on a... Or is Silk Road something?
The Silk Road is actually one of the major trade routes.
Okay.
It's the one going from Asia across through...
There we go.
Yeah. It's
like a pilgrimage. Can't even say. Thank you.
Good word, though.
That word's not working today. Pilgrimage.
It might be all the dry mouth. But, it's just me. But no, so that's
okay.
That's
but
why
thank you.
the Silk Road Dark Web was actually named after that.
Oh,
because it was a trade route.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Full circle of.
There you go.
Okay.
So the idea that
you've imparted so much information in my head.
I hope most of it's amusing, at least a little. All right. So the idea that Jesus left at 13 to travel the Silk Road is actually the premise of a discredited 19th century manuscript known as the Issa legend. It's discredited, but that is only one of the documents that was mentioning Jesus and the Silk Road. I believe that he found a lot of stuff that was similar to what I was able to find and decided to write a story that he thought made Jesus look like I'm making him look. How did he go from here to there? Where's his knowledge? Right. And I think it was a guy in the 19th century doing that, just like I'm doing that right now. Okay. Except he didn't say it was speculation as I'm going about, so that caused him a little bit of trouble. But so I'm going to speculate on why he's closely associated with the Silk Road, because traveling with merchant caravans to India and Tibet is entirely possible in the first century. So if we follow the trade routes, we'll see where they would have taken him. That's kind of where I thought we'd go. So he's in a big city. He's feeling disillusioned. He hasn't a chance to escape. I think all of those things are things that happen in modern day all the time right now. People living anywhere wanting to get out of their small town.
Yep.
All right. So before reaching India, a caravan along the Silk Road would pass through the heart of the Parthian Empire, which is modern-day Iran. Okay. Here, Jesus would have been exposed to Zoroastrianism. I know, one of those esoteric religions I was telling you about. It's actually the first of the religions, of the monotheistic religions.
Okay.
Single God.
Okay, thank you.
Single God versus many God.
Okay.
And it's that a lot of the people start pointing back to the myths about Jesus being a lot like the myths about Mithras and some of the Zoroastrian concepts as well. Basically, let's see, world's oldest monotheistic religions. Zoroastrianism is basically a concept of a supreme uncreated creator. So everything, okay? And that's called Ahura Mazda. And locked in that cosmic struggle against an evil, destructive spirit on the other side, okay? And this could trigger a paradigm shift for Jesus, Instead of seeing this suffering he saw back in Judea under Roman rule as like a punishment from God, it's actually a localized skirmish between the light and the dark. It's instead of being God is punishing you if you're getting hurt, it's you're always battling the good and the bad.
Right.
It's yin yang.
Yeah.
All that you're always going around. And the more that you can learn from it, and dualistic concepts functioning much like the balance of yin yang, basically rewire that theological worldview. Okay. So you can start to see it as, okay, so I'm not being punished by this vengeful God from the Old Testament. I am being challenged. Okay. So he continues his journey. He from Iran, he descends into the Indus Valley and into the plains of India. So that's going to be his mid to late teens at that point. He's going to immerse himself in the ancient Vedic traditions. That becomes Hinduism later on. Okay, you know a lot about that with your yoga training.
I do know that.
This would be crucial for building the theological foundation, but also a little bit of his rebellious streak, because let's speculate, he's had this mind, he's traveling around, he's gathering knowledge because he wants to go, all right, what do your priests know? What do your priests know? Because he wants to know, compare them to what I've already learned here, what makes sense? What piece of truth can I pull? What little seed can I plant over here? What things are going to go through? So he's starting to get this reputation as, a thirsty mind. And so the Brahmin priests take him in. So he's learning, he's asking, he's really trying to fill his knowledge, his sponge-like mind. He masters Sanskrit, he learns the Upanishads, he learns about Brahman, the formless reality, and the beautiful concept of the divine spark, or Atman, that lives in all of us, right? And that's where I'm going to come back into some of what Jesus says. I think it's all leaning back to this. Yes, God is in all of us. It's that spark. Yes, I am the son of God, as are you, you're the daughter of God. We're all part of that same spark. And I think that's what he was trying to say in the language of his peers. And that got him labeled, a heretic and all. So there's this dark side to this enlightenment. So he loves the theology of the divine spark, but he's pretty repulsed by the caste systems. He's already seen the suffering of his people in Judea, and now he's seeing these people living high above with all of their ornamental wealth, their food, while the untouchables are just dying in the streets.
Dirt,
Yeah. So since they're treated as less than human, he realizes a devastating universal truth. Whether it's in Jewish temples or Hindu ashrams, religious hierarchy is a tool of oppression. Once you have organized religion behind something, human nature tends to put it to where that's going to put the lowers beneath you, and you're going to take from them so you keep your power. And I think that is not what a rebellious young teen who grew up in a small town next to a big city would have been thought. Yeah. Would have been thinking, rather.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Anyone who denies, he refuses to accept a system that denies anyone a divine spark. Everyone has that same Atman. It's the same teaching, except he's putting it onto the untouchables as well. Yeah. He's making it democratized for everybody. He begins sneaking out, teaching the closely guarded text to the lower castes, basically committing cultural heresy. This empathy would basically incur wrath from the Brahmin teachers, and he'd probably have to force himself to flee to save his life. Would be, if he was really rebellious and going down that route, doing things, he's not going to be able to stick around long making enemies. So if he flees the rigid structures of the Indian plains, the next stop is going to be up into the freezing altitudes of the Himalayas. Eventually reaching Nepal and Tibet in his early 20s, he would encounter Mahayana Buddhism. That would also profoundly shift his worldview from external rituals into internal transformation. Instead of, if I do this, this will be the result. It's this happens because it's in me. Right. Okay? Under the tutelage of Buddhist monks, he's going to learn the intense meditation and the concepts of Sunyata.
I don't think I know that word.
Okay. Emptiness.
Okay.
Non-attachment.
Yeah, I do know that.
And it's not just a physical minimalism. He's actually learning to completely detach himself from his ego. Okay? He wants to detach himself from his ego, his desires, and most importantly, the fear of death. That's the one that most people hold on to the longest, right?
Yes.
So had Jesus traveled this path, which I'm going to speculate is where I'm going to have him go on along this story, it would be here that he's going to develop his blueprint for the Sermon on the Mount. That's his most famous speech, basically, the speech that got him executed.
Okay.
We're going to get to that in a different series, as we're already coming up on our time pretty close right now. So, all right. The monks would teach him about Ahimsa.
Yes, I've got that one. I know that one.
I don't know where you would know that one from by any chance. But yes, so a radical, uncompromising, nonviolence and compassion for all living things. Years later, this exact concept would echo across Judea as turn the other cheek, love your enemies. And those things can be taken as weakness, but when you start to see it in the way he does, which I'm going to expand on later, at least I hope I did, and not just in my thoughts, you're being stronger by being still.
Yeah.
It's that same nonviolence that Gandhi and MLK and moved mountains with. So, all right. So perhaps the most radical shift in his theology would happen when the monks teach him about that enlightenment isn't a physical place that you're going when you die, but it's a state of mind that you can actually achieve in the here and now. This realization directly translates to his teaching that shocked the Pharisees, the kingdom of God is within you. So I really see how the Buddhism and these things are linked, and how if he is learning these things as he's going on, it's not, he is a Jew learning multiple different things and helping to explain these things that his Jewish neighbors and relatives and friends would never have been able to learn or know existed, and bring them into their language so he can help elevate them up as well.
Yeah.
The Bodhisattva Vow, which I'll get to. But in these high-altitude monasteries, he shifts his training from purely philosophical enlightenment to the actual manipulation of physical reality. In Eastern traditions, advanced masters who reach total enlightenment often unlock what are called, do you remember?
Oh, God, no.
I've put you on the spot again. Siddhis.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes. As soon as I said the word,
I know, but I can't on the spot. Thank you, I love you.
I love you. Cities, to the Western mind, would look like supernatural powers, right? But to the Eastern mystic, they're just natural byproducts of a liberated mind. Because once you're no longer bound by the illusion of reality, reality is a little bit more malleable. So, first he's going to learn pranic healing. He's going to learn to channel prana or chi and learn the universal life force energy. That means basically later on when he heals the blind or paralyzed or leprous, he isn't just like performing a magic trick. He's taking himself and unblocking their chi. He is using life force energy to clear actual physical blockages. He's just really fucking good at it.
Yeah, he's a good healer.
Exactly.
I would like that power.
Me too. I would love that. So next would be Laghima. That's probably not a one. One of the classic cities, Laghima, is the ability to make the body lighter than a feather. Okay, basically you can manipulate your molecular density. So that sets up a perfect grounded explanation for him being able to walk on water, as he is said to do on the Sea of Galilee, or to command a storm from raging to stop.
Yeah.
So by
Interesting.
being able to
That's cool.
So by looking at them as cities, as parts of your mind, you're seeing that Jesus isn't doing magic. He's become enlightened, and he's trying to share this in a language that has no clue what to fucking make of his existence.
Right.
So, the biggest one, he's taught the secret of Samadhi. Okay? A deep, profound yogic trance that basically slows his heart rate and breath to a near stop, essentially mimicking death. Okay? It's going to become important when we get to the execution later on. So let's see. It would also explain not just his resurrection, or bits of it that I'm going to get to, but when he saw Lazarus, that maybe Lazarus wasn't dead. Maybe he was, let's Princess Bride it, mostly dead.
Right.
You know, he's out, his prana and chi is leaving his body. But Jesus knows he's basically in a trance. If I can re-wake these cells just like I did there, this man can come back to life and be resurrected as I would later do to myself. Okay. So I'm trying to give this a grounded in how can this be. All right. So let's see. So we'll get to the crucifixion later on, but finally he's going to learn the truth of Maya. You and I have had many
Maya discussions. Illusion.
Exactly.
Yes.
The physical world is ultimately all illusion. It's all vibrating energy that becomes matter. Okay? All of this is basically air. Okay? It's just that vibration. So Eastern masters are historically fabled to be able to materialize objects out of thin air. Just poof. Okay? That would explain how he'd be able to make loaves and fishes to feed the masses. I've got a fish, I can make fish. I got bread, I can make bread. And he just materializes it because it's another city. It's another realization of illusion. This doesn't need to be. It's showing them, again, in their language, which they can't compare at the time to 3,000 miles away, or however far it was, which I should have probably looked up, but did not. But that would mean the climax of his time in the East would basically turn down to his choice between paradise or hell. He's become enlightened. He's got the information. He's now here. But he's also a philosophical sponge, right? He's reached enlightenment, and he can stay in the Himalayas, live as a revered master. But is that what a revered master who has reached enlightenment is going to do?
No, it's not.
Well, exactly. So it's not really a choice. So he's going to look back. He's going to remember Nazareth. He's going to remember the Roman crosses all over the fucking hills. He's going to basically look at himself and take the Bodhisattva vow. He's going to choose to delay his own happiness here and now, which is why people think delaying it now gets it later. No, he's delaying it now because he's already had it. He wants to show you all of us, how to get it now, not wait until later. It's not how it works. But he takes his vow. He decides to return to his world and help liberate others from suffering. So basically, he thinks that as he gets here, as I've been trying to say, the vocabulary of the East is going to be basically incompatible with first century Judea. So if he walks into the temple talking about karma and Maya, the Pharisees he's not even going to make it to his baptism. He's going to be stoned to death. He's a pagan heretic.
Right, okay.
So he has to be able to learn to speak to them in their language so they can't challenge him except through the same language. So he's got to get to a translation. Okay. And I keep saying, okay, I apologize if that's come up too much. My brain's just right there. But if he needs to encode these truths into the language of Moses in Judea, the logical choice would be Alexandria, Egypt, exactly where the Jews said he came from, where he learned sorcery and practiced it on. So I think we're close to an hour in at this point.
Yeah, we are.
I'm going to say that we should probably wrap this up for today.
Yeah.
We'll start the next round as he's walking into, as he follows the path back and gets to Egypt and learns how to encode this all into a new language.
Okay.
I hope this has been interesting.
That was actually a lot. You have been working on this a while, and that was a lot of information, but it was a lot of information I did not know.
I know I gave you a very brief rundown.
I know. But it opens my eyes a little bit more about who he was and that he actually was real and what we can do with his information.
I think that if more people realize that Jesus was just a man, and that Buddha was just a man, that Muhammad was just a man, they were here to help us encode these things in our language and pass them on for the time in our space to try and help all of us get a further state of enlightenment.
Just got caught up by the religious nut fair.
Exactly.
And for the ones like haven't grown up with any of it, it was it turned to me. I mean, this the first time, knowing you of learning that he was an actual person. Because I always thought he was just a. Like, what do you mean people follow him? Like, what did he do?
Well, and on top of that, it's
pretty actually cool.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that this is speaking.
This has been way more information, baby.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us today. We will be back hopefully next week.
Yeah, I guess I'm coming back. First podcast done. I will.
Really
I'll get better.
I thought this
I'll
was
get
great.
better.
I'm sorry that I've been just spitting out.
It was a lot of information, and
but-
I mean, that's you have that. You have it. Anyways, thank you. That was fun having me for the first time, and I look forward to more ahead.
See you guys soon.